Well, why hello there. I do hope you're having a good day today. A Knife's Tale here, bringing you a knife review, most likely. I mean, that's what I'm planning to do, but seeing as I haven't even started the review yet, I don't know where this is going to go, and I have no idea what I'm even talking about, so let's just get into it. This is the Koenig Arius, in this particular case, a Koenig Arius non-flipper. This is an extremely expensive knife. It's a USA-made knife, it's an extremely high-quality knife, and you know what? Despite not having done the actual review yet, I do know where this is going, so it's an amazing knife. It is. So if that's all you need to see, well, thanks for watching. I'd appreciate you sticking around, or at least subscribing, because I was succinct enough to give you your information. But either way, let's get into this thing properly, shall we? You have right, pretty much dead on 3.5 inches of blade to the right around this front of the actual scale here. You have tiny bit over 3 1/8 of actual cutting edge, because you've got this big choil here. Overall, with the lanyard piece and slash backspacer sticking out there, it is approximately 8 and I'm going to call that 8.6 inches overall. The handle is about 5 1/8. Let us make some quick comparisons to our resident dog. To the resident dog, yes. The dog is going to be coming, he'll make the comparisons, and we'll all be happy for it. We don't have a choice. Apparently doesn't like that. Small knife comparison, Civivi Elementum, full size, Civivi in dog Conspirator. Yeah, this is bigger than both. This is a full-size knife. It's not quite pushing into the large, but it's definitely a sizable knife, and it's got some presence here. A lot of it is, you know, how the handle actually points out at either end, which kind of causes it to be a bit bigger, but yeah, it's a decent-sized knife. It is. Our final comparison for those who just want to know how much grip size you're gonna get, and this is something anybody can compare to. Yeah, AA batteries. Primary grip, you have a tiny bit more than 2 AA batteries, and you have a choil. So pretty much anybody's hands are going to fit on this thing without any real issue. Hardware, this is a T8 in here, and I believe T8 there, T8 there, yeah, T8 all around, nice, deep, quality hardware. I mean, this is a very deeply tooled pivot, as you can kind of see as I remove it. It's one of those grippy pivots where it's like once you get down in there, it sort of pops back out. It's weird. I've seen that on a few knives. I don't know what causes that. Do not. Let us do weight of our Arius. You know, I didn't even mention that this is an M390 blade with a titanium frame lock. It is. 4.70 ounces. It's not an ounce an inch, but it's not bad. Like, this is a sizable knife. You're getting a tall blade. You're getting a lot of options here. This is pretty reasonable for a titanium frame lock. It is pretty decently skeletonized in there. It's more than reasonable for me. I have no problem with it. These scales are they slightly contoured? Yes, they are. They're slightly contoured. It's not the heaviest contouring in the world, but it's more than enough to make it feel really nice. It is a thick knife, 570 thousandths. In fact, I think that's one of the thicker knives I've had on the channel. Let's just compare it to that right there. Yeah, you can kind of pretty much see that it's decently thick. Though, with the contouring, it doesn't feel that thick. Honestly, it's kind of a surprise to me that it is as thick as it is. I've never actually measured it before. Blade stock thickness, which I guess we'll get from right around here. 150, probably going for 155 thousandths to 156 on this one. And behind the edge should be pretty darn reasonably thin. It is hollow ground. And about 15 thousandths behind the edge. Not the deepest hollow ground in existence, but it definitely brings a decently thick blade stock down to a very reasonable, kind of universally good edge. Like 15 thousandths is, it's not the super slicey. I mean, it is super slicey, don't misunderstand me. This is a really good slicer and cutter. But it's not like, sometimes you see those ridiculous super slicey knives down at the dog. About, yeah, 14 to 15 thousandths. Where was I? Before I've been so rudely interrupted, sir. Don't argue with me. Hold on, I'm gonna go see what he's doing. He's just being a stinky little peanut. As usual. Where was I? Oh, yes. It's not like the 12 thousandths that you sometimes see on those super ridiculously thin knives. But this is almost a perfect thickness because it allows you to get just a little bit more strength than some of those do behind the edge, while at the same time being ridiculously slicey. It's got a tall grind. The hollow grind's deep. It's a wonderful performer. It's not ultra tough in that sense. I mean, it is still 15 thousandths behind the edge. It's not your beat on stick knife, right? Don't do that. Don't do that probably with a pocket knife. You're looking at the wrong tool there. But, yeah. This is a good cutter. This is a great cutter. And I believe that also brings us to the end of our specs. Yes, okay. Let's just take a quick look, a little more depth of this knife. First of all, you got a drop point blade with a lot of belly right out here at the tip, yet the tip remains surprisingly accessible. Maybe a little bit higher than on some knives, but somehow they managed to kind of bridge it together, giving you all this curvature belly right towards the front and still getting some tip access. Which I'm not complaining about, not in the slightest. As you can see, it's got kind of its own unique finish. It really... I'm not sure what to call this, honestly. It's not quite a hand satin up here, and this isn't quite like a normal blasting. It's got a lot of reflectivity, and yeah, you can kind of see it. I honestly don't know what to call this finish. I could probably look it up or we'll see what they call it. I'm not doing that. Why would I do that? That would be stupid. That would actually make sense. That's not what we do here. The Koenig logo is right there. Lasered in beautifully, honestly, and I don't mind that whatsoever right there. It'd be cool without it. It's cool with it. I'm fine with that. The M390 mark is right there, actually hidden, and there's nothing else on the blade. It is sterile, and frankly, beautiful. Also, one little fun... I guess this is not a... This is just something that impresses me. I like to see this. You've got a hollow grind here. You've got a bowled out part of the aperture flipper that feeds off of the hole. And your swedge on top of the blade is actually hollow ground as well. It is scooped out and bowled out, kind of... Hopefully you can kind of get a picture of it. It's not going to be easy to show, but yeah, there you go. See how that... it's basically scooped out like this, but it comes right to the edge, so it basically just hollow grinds itself, which is really cool. You don't normally see that, especially on such a small swedge. Just a nice touch. Plunge grind ends right here, middle of the choil, which is a great spot for it, because you don't want it all the way back on the choil, because then you're dealing with thin steel, but it's far enough away from the edge where there's not a problem. And there's enough choil here that even though it does, like, there's no real... It is a knife where you could say, oh, I'm getting awfully close to that edge. The choil is big enough for my hands to be pretty far away from it still. And be more than comfortable. I don't think you're going to have a problem with this knife whatsoever in your hands. And back, even if you do, back here is still perfectly fine. In fact, it's wonderful. This swell with the slight bit of contouring, the pocket clip actually adds to it. It disappears. It is so ridiculously comfortable. The normal ones do have a flipper tab here, so maybe you can't use the choil quite the same, and you're stuck in this position all the time, and you're not suffering for it, not at all. You maybe you're a little further away from the edge than you want to be, but you could probably still get your finger up in there too, even with the flipper tab there, honestly. I know they're decent sized flipper tabs, but you could still probably get like maybe a first knuckle kind of thing. There's really nothing to complain about there. It's just awesome. The stop pin is connected to the blade, so it is nowhere near. In fact, it's right there. This knife is on bearings, if you hadn't been able to guess. Yes. Yes, this knife is on bearings, and this knife's bearing action is honestly kind of in a league of its own. I mean, you could say that certain knives from CKF, like the Evo, have amazing action that just drop, but something about this one, it feels like it doesn't have the same blade mass, it's not as heavy, and yet it's still just this perfect, smooth, yet slightly controllable guillotine. I mean, which is kind of an oxymoron there, which, well, I'm a moron, so that's appropriate, but it's not controllable, it's super fast and drop shut, but it just doesn't feel like it goes until you want it to, which is great. I mean, unless you're doing it like this, in which case, yeah, sure. But when the flipper tab's there, that stops on your finger, and even without the flipper tab, they did the thing that I love with the back of the tang, and gave you a little bit of a nub, which stops the blade on your finger, so, you know, guillotine is not coming into your hand. Great control, great action. Moving on from that, amazing detent. This thing has such a snappy detent. It's quite strong, yet, despite that, I can do it with my ring finger here. I don't know about pinky, but that's a little low, so. It's got such a snappy, great detent. I wouldn't call it maybe the fidgety knife of the year. It's just that those are your operation methods, and honestly, the thumb flick is not great. Like, it's bowled out here, right? It's not meant for a thumb flick, clearly. This is a low reverse flick. And what it's meant for, it does impeccably well. So, we're also looking at a centered knife with 0 blade play. Actually, no, we're not. It has been quite a while since I've given this thing a little... Oh, yeah, there it is. It just needs a little bit of movement. I don't think I Loctited this one much. And nothing's changed. Not a single doggone thing has changed. The centering is a tiny bit off now. Just a tiny hair. Kind of. I can play around with that and get it back to center, no problem. Which I'm probably going to do after the video is done, to be honest, because I've had it perfectly centered, and, yeah. Just time. I don't think I've adjusted this thing in several years, to be honest with you. Now, where was I? Bowled out pivot captured, obviously. With a bit of a unique look. This one's, silver on silver. With some machining on sort of like the raw kind of silver of the titanium backspacer. And hardware, I guess, in general. Lock bar access is subtle, but really good. It's not taking too much away from the, but you can still get it from, it's not taking too much away from the lines, but you can still get it from the side. Just fine. And without worry. Is what I'm trying to say. It is jimped. I don't necessarily think it even needs the jimping. Just maybe a little bit of a contour line right along there. But since there is no contour line, the jimping does help. It is actually comfortable jimping. And somehow it does give some sort of traction. A little bit when you're going to disengage this thing. It's not, however, really given too much traction when you're doing this, so it's still pretty comfortable. Or very comfortable, I should say. Lock bar insert, pretty standard there. I mean, it's a titanium frame lock. It's not breaking the... It's not doing anything that is breaking the mold. It's broken the mold by being as good a version and execution as it is. As you can see, this is also a patterned one with this beautiful milling pattern. I think they just call it a patterned titanium. The backspacer, as I said earlier, has a lanyard hole or lanyard loop point, but even with, and honestly, let's take that into, let's look at that for a second here. They've managed to make the lanyard point aesthetically pleasing. let's sit in silence for a moment and take that in, because that is not what a lanyard hole is normally. They did really good here. The clip, as I said, it is ultra functional, good retention, good flex, and super comfortable. You just don't feel it. It disappears in the hand. The cutout is below the clip. I haven't really noticed it being hanging up on anything too bad. I guess if you're on really thick pants, you could get a little bit of hang up back in probably this area. I don't think you'd have too much hang up when you're pulling out, but I'm going to stay away from talking like that. There's also a hole through further lock bar relief or tuning, I guess. I don't know. It's cool. You can see through. It's fine. And if you look down through that hole when the blade knife is open, you can see the generation and the batch number. And that's important because these are made in Idaho, I believe, if I recall correctly, by the small company, by the small Koenig company, helmed by Bill Koenig. And these are made in small batches, and they're basically mid-techs of extreme quality. But you're paying the price for it. These are over $800, these knives. Do these things... When you're just looking at it and looking at what it is, you're like, okay, I can probably get even a titanium frame lock from a USA-made company for like $600. But it's when you have it in hand and you feel the difference and you feel what this thing is and what it's doing and the precision and the tolerances and just, yeah. It's yes, it's expensive. Maybe it's a little too expensive. Maybe. I really don't even want to say that because it's just that good. It is a wonderful knife. It is something that if you ever get a chance, check it out. It just kind of does its own thing. I'm not going to say it's recommendable. It's certainly not for everyone. It's not for most people, most likely. Heck, I wouldn't consider it if I weren't, a crazy enthusiast and collector and enjoyer of knives. That's what my hobby is. But it is great. It is. It just is. This is one of the best, most obvious quality knives in my collection. Period. And if you look at it in that regard, it's actually not too bad price. I mean, this thing easily matches a Shirogorov, and it's less expensive than most. So, yeah. Yeah, the Koenig Arius is just a great one. And I'm going to be messing with it for the next couple minutes to see if I can't get it perfectly centered, even though it is pretty darn close. Now that this video has come to its conclusion, and I say, actually, it might actually be... If you actually look at the tip there, the grind is slightly taller on one side, so it looks like it sticks off to this side a little bit more than I think it does. Let's get anal here and see what happens if I do this. So we are 0.0745 on one side. .825 on the other. Okay. That is pretty darn close. That is real close. Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm sure it won't take me but a single turn or two. I'm still here. Why am I still here? The review's over. Jesus. Just go away. Just go away. I'll see you guys in the next one. Well, I'll go away. Yeah.